The most popular mirrorless camera gimbal by Moza got upgraded. This is the new Air 2S. Lightweight, powerful and very functional. But is this good enough? Let's inspect. Hey everybody, welcome back, Tech for All channel. My name is Michael, really good to see you here. I guess we're ready to inspect some more cool tech, and today we're going to talk about gimbals. And I know from experience that choosing a gimbal could be a very challenging task to do because there are so many variables. Like, you got to think about the camera type that you have, the connectors that it has, the purpose of usage, the size, the weight, the compatibility. It's a very long list, so better sit down, make your own list with top priorities, and then decide. This in particular, which is called the Moza Air 2S, could be the perfect choice if everything you're going to see throughout this episode kind of resonates to your top priorities. And I had the chance to use it for a few weeks, and being myself a Gimbal S user for the past almost 2 years, it's been an interesting experience to me. Actually, I had the chance to try the Aircross 2 a few months ago, and the Air 2, and now the Air 2S, which seems to have a lot of nice upgrades. First of all, the battery has been upgraded and, well, sadly no longer replaceable, but now much better performance. I would say nicer construction, and this here, one of my favorite features. Now let's get rid of this cable, but you can use this wheel very conveniently to make super smooth footage. Perfect for product, videography and photography, and a lot of other features. So I would like to make this review a combination between reviewing the product and also giving you some tips and tricks, setup tutorial and ideas about how you can make some better footage. The price asked is $499 to $599 with the Pro Kit, right in between DJI's RS and RSC series, obviously challenging DJI's top solution in the segment, which in terms of hardware and performance might be easily achievable. Let's do the unboxing so that I can show you what is included. Quick tour over the packaging and the ads. If your camera is not listed here, don't worry, plenty of other models are compatible and even furthermore will be in the future thanks to the updates offered by Moza. I have here the Pro Combo, including the Focus M add-on, a motor which can manually control the focus or zoom of your lens. Here's the gimbal itself. Feels solid, good construction, bunch of different mounts so that it can well fit on a tripod, solid materials used, and it looks like an awesome thing to have and use. As you may know, Moza, they're among the most popular gimbal makers. They've stepped up their game about software and user experience in the past month, so I was curious to try this out. Inside, here's the plate. It's removable. After you put the camera on top of it, you can easily remove it and mount it on a tripod. And these are the sticks where the focus motor actually gets mounted. A few cables included. These are used for connecting the gimbal to the camera in order to control it from the gimbal's buttons. So far so good. The Air 2S is not among the high-end gimbals by Moza. There are a lot more advanced models, but this of course doesn't mean that you're going to be limited. The possibilities are quite decent, so is the performance, and it can certainly be a great and professional acting filmmaking tool. If I may highlight the most important tech specs, the gimbal supports payload up to 4.2 kilos. This means your camera body and lens need to fit within this weight limit. Battery life up to 20 hours, there's a smart micro hand wheel, one-step balancing, 3-axis lock design, auto-tuning, profile settings, object tracking support, Bluetooth 5, USB Type-C and a few other connectivity ports, and fair amount of compatible accessories. Specs are good, almost excellent, but we know that good hardware deserves good user experience, and there are a number of components you should consider and we should test prior to deciding whether the gimbal is good enough, like possibility for expandability, like adding some gadgets and extending the functionality through different handles, for instance, or good user interface, a good smartphone app, good firmware support, good compatibility with cameras, because this is where most people would be suffering. I guess the first thing you should begin with is really figuring out whether your camera is on the support list. My camera was not actually, but it works. No problem. Also, there are some really nice enhancements that you can purchase. For instance, this here on the front, this is a motor which can be used for manual focusing or for using the zoom function of your lens. This entirely being controlled by the gimbal over here. So let me show you first of all how to do the part with the balancing and with the camera installation, and luckily here with the Air 2S, that's a rather simple task. There's a new design of the main plate, which is adjustable and quick releasable. Since I use mostly Argus Swiss standard, I've decided to add such type of plate so that my camera is entirely QR based. This is really very easy, helps me to use the gimbal a lot more often. I would recommend checking the user guide for the functions of each of the modes and the settings. The basic controls are obvious. There's the joystick, which controls the direction of the camera, the power button, which can also act as a trigger or start recording function, and the settings wheel. I'm quite a fan of this side wheel. Depending on the modes, it may control panning, tilting or rolling, or if you use the motor, it can be used for focus or zoom controls. The speed and responsiveness is adjustable, both from the gimbal menus or the smartphone app. And the reference display is a bliss. You should of course take some time getting to learn about all the indicators, but once you get used to them, it's great and it's also well visible in daytime. I'm not really going to talk much about all the controls and the features because most of the buttons are customizable, so if there's a function that you use a lot and you want to be programmed for any of the buttons, you can do it. And you can preserve the chosen settings as profiles. This is very nice because if you share the unit with somebody else, both of you can have own profiles without disrupting the efficiency of each other. Or you can switch between profiles depending on the use case, shooting sports or interviews or weddings or product photography, where the settings may be completely different. To go a bit more advanced, you may have to do some research about connecting your camera. Of course, it can work the manual way, being mounted on a gimbal and you pressing the shutter button to start and stop the video recording manually. Or you can get a lot more out of it by connecting a control cable. My main camera, being Sony A7c, not listed among the compatible units, needs a Type-C to mini USB adapter, which sadly is not included with the pack. However, if you have micro USB to Type-C adapter, just take the M3C micro USB and the adapter, make sure the camera is set to PC remote control, and done! There are quite many settings that are controllable, including ISO, focus and shutter. If you decide to invest in a focus motor, I think you better use it for zoom lenses because the Sony cameras have good enough autofocus anyways. This has been a really great working setup for me. I've used it for some of the recent reviews on the channel. In terms of stabilization, you can well notice the excellent results. Combined with a bit of software stabilization, you're going to get Hollywood-grade footage and no shakes at all. The gimbal, of course, supports almost all popular stabilizing modes: pan follow, pan and tilt follow, FPV, even Inception, with very good angles of shooting and, as stated, responsiveness that you can fine-tune. Best thing to do is to get to know the app. To my surprise, the smartphone app is really good. I've tried the Android version. It is the same app that Moza use for most of their gimbals and sliders, including the Slidepod Pro. By the way, you could combine Air 2S with Slidepod Pro to get one of the most unique automated multi-angle tracking setups. The app has a bunch of extras, including leveling by using the smartphone or very precise object tracking. Now, I have also discovered a few things that might be a deal breaker for some of you. First of all, the battery safety button. In certain conditions, especially if you use this part of the gimbal as arm support, you may accidentally shut the power off. This is very frustrating. Secondly, looks like there is no support for the Canon P6 and P5 models yet, and a bit weird firmware update procedure where you need to power the gimbal in special boot mode prior to pushing the new package. The other disadvantage is the size. It's kind of bigger than what I hoped for, so won't easily fit most camera backpacks, but it has a good reason to take advantage of the carrying case. So in the end, I've been very positively impressed by Moza Air 2S, and with some training you may produce amazing content with very little effort. While I'm a fan of handheld shooting, I have to admit that what I got from this gimbal has been invaluable. And this seems to be a very well-designed and planned stabilizer, suitable not only for experienced users and professionals, but also for beginners. So, if you have more tips and tricks to share, or possibly ideas or maybe follow-up questions, the comment section below the video is the right place to address them. The Moza Air 2S or any other gimbals, we can discuss all of that. And as usual, links to all the gear that we have shown throughout this episode, again, in the video description. Thank you very much for watching this episode with me, and now sending you a lot of smiles, good mood, good vibes. Really hope that you're going to enjoy the day and you're going to have a lot of great things in front of you. Thanks for watching this episode. Subscribe to the channel for more cool tech inspections. I'm Michael. Look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye.